Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Notre Dame fans. Whatever time it is, wherever you are, however you're tuning in, we are just thankful that you made us a part of your day. If you're watching live, you're watching back, listening to the podcast, whatever the case may be. Again, thank you for making us a part of your day. I'm Mike Singer. I run our recruiting and YouTube operation at Blue and Gold. And with me in today's show is Tim Hyde. Tim, the former California high school football coach, junior college coach out in the Golden State, and now handsome father of three. Correct? Three,
Four, but who's counting, right?
four, not me, apparently. Tim, how's everything, man?
Freezing. It's April Fools. It's -10 up here in the mountains, and it is freezing. So, Mike, we keep getting snow. It's like, come on, man, let's go. It's football weather, and here we are in the middle of spring. But no, everything's going good, man. You got obviously wherever we're at in spring, right? I mean, do we know it's practice 3, practice 8? No one knows because there's only been a couple days of access. You got craziness in sports. People are freaking out over women's basketball, which I think I watched 12 seconds this year, so I'm okay. I'm okay with that. God, what else? Recruiting is going nuts, which I just love, Mike. I mean, we should just do a show, go back in time and just read comments from the message board of everyone losing their brains how Notre Dame was going to have the 106th recruiting class. And they're just killing it. So, hey, it's Notre Dame football, man. They went all the way to January 20th. Let those guys relax a little bit, eat some waffles, chill on the weekend, hang out, regroup. And that's what they're doing, right, man? Haven't they? I mean, they've regrouped in a monster way. And it's like every other day, it seems like they got 15 new guys on here. Yeah, Tim's on Noah's Ark. That's what it feels like some days. But no, exciting, man. I'm excited. It's a great time, man. We're almost got the Blue and Gold game is like a couple weeks away, for crying out loud. Is it the 12th?
11 days.
Yeah, that's insane. So you and I are going to be doing a live show in 11 days off of
it's going to be, I've been told that the spring game is whatever you have thought about, like whatever you know about the Blue Gold game, just strike that from your memory, reset. I mean, as of like a couple weeks ago, they didn't even know what the heck that was going to be this year, and have no idea what it's even going to look like. So,
but I'll give you a quick 30 seconds commercial on that and that's okay, because it's still all about the young guys. I think we're going to, we know what Wagner could do, Love can do, Bowen, the 18 other guys that are on the 2 deep returning. It's Sullivan, Apsher, Luke Talich, Hobbs. It's all these other guys mixing in, Madden Ferramo. It's all the Blair, all the young guys, the 3 freshman tackles. No, excuse me. Black's not there. Talking about Heron. So 3 freshman offensive linemen that we're going to see getting tossed all over the field probably, because they still need to eat and lift for the next few years. So that's what I'm excited about. I just see a bunch of these young guys for down the road. So,
okay. I think it's very much just like a showcase, and it's kind of like a good dress rehearsal and like a sort of game atmosphere. Some of these young guys all right, it's a scrimmage. There's people there. I know I'm on TV, so it's a little pressurized situation. So it's still good. I don't know if Notre Dame will have a televised spring game next year. It kind of seems like we're going away from that, but different discussion for a different day, Tim. Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Listen via podcast, please leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Tim, let's see. Okay, so I always text Tim in the morning. Hey, what do you want to talk about tonight? He sends me some things, and then I send him an outline. Well, he didn't get the outline for whatever reason. He texted me like 5 minutes before the show started, like, where's the link for me to log on? So Tim has really no idea what we're talking about today. So that's always fun. But it's good because some of them are just, I posted on Twitter, hey, give us some questions for the show.
I like that. All right.
And I was surprised. We got some really good stuff. Usually it's like, where it's like, how much does Marcus Freeman make? It's like, guys, I don't know.
No, I mean, literally, this first time I've sat down since 5:45 this morning. So I am excited. I've been going crazy. We had a wild night at my daughters do sports, it feels like, for 8 hours on Tuesday. So this is a nice little relaxation. So whatever you got ready to throw at me, and I'm going to rapid fire off the top of the brain here.
I do feel like you do best on the rapid fire top of the brain, because like when I give you time to prepare, you come in guns a-blazing and just throwing shade at Steve Angeli like no one's business. By the way, do you have his card with you? Do you have the card?
No, because I haven't been home, I feel like, in 3 days.
Tim, just bring it to the boathouse.
It's going to stay right here. I'm going to put it right here on the little shelf.
Can you like tape it to that wall behind your shoulder there, or that little the closet? You just like tape it.
And it'll get larger for every touchdown, and it'll disappear for every pick. So there you go.
Speaking of touchdowns and picks, did you see this, Tim? Drew Pine back in the NCAA transfer portal. Don't want to spend too much time on this, but can you believe that he has a 7th year of eligibility between red shirts, COVID years, injury year, just 7 years. 7 years of college football. What do you think?
Well, number one, I'm not a huge April Fool's guy, so is this April Fool's? That was one of the
Tim,
first.
I hate April Fool's Day.
Yeah, it's like, man, that's why you don't post anything today. I don't want to read anything, and I saw this. I'm like, is this real? But
it's real.
Hey, good for him. You just keep. Hey, I'm a big fan. You keep playing as long as you can, because once it's done, it's done, and you're selling insurance and cruising the world. So keep playing. He's got another year. Do what you got to do.
Oh my gosh!
I'll tell you what, though, Mike. I think the longer we're away from it, can we really talk about the amazing job the 2022 coaching staff did? How in the hell did they win 9 games with Buckner and Drew Pine? With no wide receivers. Mayer is literally the wide receiver because he's split out everywhere on earth. Defense surviving. Mike, they had the lead. They were 1 play away from going into the 4th quarter until Golden and Freeman says, oh, what the hell? Let's double safety blitz this thing to death and put Mickey, a true freshman, on an island and get torched. They were 1 play away from taking the lead against what? Ohio State was number 2 in the country in 2022 when they played in game 1. And then obviously they go and beat South Carolina, who had a hell of a football team. They're with Buckner at the end, and Pine wins 8 games. Mike, they won 4. We always talk about these ranked wins by Freeman. You always see this graphic, him and Frank Leahy. Frank Leahy's all against top 10 teams, but Freeman, with the ranked wins, they won 4 games against ranked teams in 2022. That's insane when you look back at it. So that's me. Kudos to Drew Pine for surviving, and Reese doing whatever the heck he had to do. They beat number 4 Clemson with Drew Pine throwing for like 15 yards. I mean, seriously, right? Did he have any yards passing? Or he threw the one to Mayer at the end in the 4th quarter there when he was in the backfield and he shot out. So they beat 8-0, number 4 Clemson with Drew Pine. So that's my memory. It's always going to be positive. Keep playing, Drew. We'll see you on ESPN 6 this year, wherever he's playing.
Or I could see something like he finishes his 7th year. Maybe he's away from the game for a year or 2, and then he's on this YouTube channel. How awesome would that be?
Hey, take them, man. We'll just talk about some big wins. They're ranked wins real quick. Obviously, Clemson. All right,
Tim, I really do not want to spend more time on this.
Clemson, BYU, Syracuse. Oh, and Buckner won South Carolina. So there's your 4. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, in an otherwise very forgettable year with Stanford losses and Marshall. Not great.
That's the Freeman learning curve there.
Tim, let's talk about the offensive line. Sure. Is the jog you saw? Don't want to get any angry comments. Is the jog you saw move? It just sounds wrong. I know that's how you pronounce.
Big Charles.
Is the jog you saw? A lot of the buzz about him moving to the interior. That's since our show.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we didn't talk about it last week, did we?
No, because the fellas, the media was there on Wednesday, the day after our last show.
Okay. So I mean,
we haven't talked about line at all. for a couple
So
months.
for folks watching on YouTube, I mean, you have Jagusaw here, and who's that right tackle? Is that Wagner?
No, that's Gerby Lambert. Yeah,
so this is Gerby as a right tackle and Charles
as
a right guard.
Look how small Charles is.
Charles is still 6'7", 330 pounds or something. Maybe not that big, but yeah, he looks small compared to Gerby. And this is it. But anyways, so let's talk about your in your opinion, the looks like likely move for Charles to guard, and then what do you think this means for who is the starting five come Miami?
Well, I mean, number one, we're all big fans of Charles, man. He's a stud. He's one of those guys you could play him anywhere. Play him at center. That dude is going to play in the NFL. So wherever he plays, I know we've talked about that. Just super talented, competitive. That goes back to his just being a stud at the wrestling. That whole individual competitive mindset that he brings to win every rep. And obviously, I mean, Joe Rudolph, the comments, that he gave to the press last week were just like, man, they just kept, especially when you go back and watch the film and they're just like, look at Jagusaw just owning inside in there and just dominating against Penn State. So then he goes and plays against Ohio State. That's why it's like he could play left tackle in a heartbeat. But when they're looking at the interior, man, you could have him and Billy could probably be the best guard duo in the country possibly this year. Hey, to me, he's playing right guard, left tackle, right tackle. I don't give a darn. He's a stud. I think it's exciting because I think that opens up, obviously the key is, Wagner's going to play, 1,000 snaps, 16 starts. People could say what they want about Knapp, but they went 14-1 with him as a starter, for crying out loud. He's got 15 starts under his belt. And then Gerby is obviously the big wild card who's still learning. I mean, that's the way I look at it. I mean, he's coming from, high school in Massachusetts where he never passed block. So that's brand new. And people always forget with Knapp was the regional lineman of the year for the greater Atlanta area, which is elite football. He was the offensive lineman of the year there his senior year. So you got a lot of moving parts, some athletes to move around. I think Charles and Billy inside, Ashton Craig, they've, said that, he's going to be full strength come the summer, so he'll be out there. Apsher, I love Sullivan Apsher, and I think it's pretty cool how they're trying to find that, is he going to be the next man in, whether he's going to be like a kind of a Pat Coogan guy, right? Next man in at guard or center. I think how they're growing it, developing it there with Rudolph. And then when you hear, I mean, but he did this in high school. When we did his commitment video, it was like, it didn't even look real. He was literally just throwing people, picking them up and just tossing them with one arm. He's that talented. And Apsher working guard and center, supremely talented. Tons of reps for Joe Otting this spring. And then you got Anthony Knapp, who, I mean, if he's the starting left tackle, I have no issues with that because he got so many reps last year, so much experience, freshman All-American. You just don't throw that stuff away. And obviously the development is Gerby. And if Notre Dame is legitimate going to make another run, they're going to get through those first 2 games and make a run. And you need 8 offensive linemen. We learned that the last couple of years, with some of the injuries that they've had, going back the last with Rudolph in 23 and 24. So it's an exciting group. I think if you go Knapp, Billy, Ashton, Charles, and Wagner with Sullivan, Apsher, and Gerby as Gerby your swing tackle, and obviously Sullivan, Apsher inside, there's 7 dudes right there that are talented as could be.
Yeah. I feel like everything leading up to spring balls, like there's 6 guys for 5 spots.
Yes.
And one, and people were talking about Knapp being left out. I was like, there's just no way Knapp's going to be left out of this equation next year. This discussion may have even been while Rocco and Coogan were still, on the team and hadn't entered the portal yet. It's like, there's just no way that Knapp does not start after all that is freshman season. So I'm with you. I personally Joggy Saw seems more like a tackle, just like than Knapp. But hey, if Rudolph likes Knapp at left tackle and he likes Joggy Saw inside, like you love you some Joe Rudolph, so I'll roll with it. I'm good with it.
Yeah, and I like the comment that Rudolph made where it's like Charles could be this super, like elite inside football player where it's like, bam, you're looking at a future top 10 pick, that type of a guard, which he definitely has. I mean, to me, he's a first round pick at offensive tackle, first round pick at offensive guard. I think he is that talented of an individual, and the confidence that he plays with. I definitely see that.
Notre Dame potentially could have I mean, how many first round picks at guard are there? Like tackle.
It's a rarity at guard.
But still, Joggy Saw would be the rarity to go in the first round. But like
he's a Nelson.
Wagner, I think Wagner's got first round pick written all over him. I think Gerby could down the line. Will Black, who isn't even there yet, but still he does. Schrouth, I still feel like could be like do you think like a first 3-4 rounds?
Yeah, Schrouth. It's funny. I've gone back and rewatched because I've been seeing all this now.
You've been watching Schrouth, his 8th grade film, just while you're doing the dishes.
No 8th grade, but I went back over this weekend at night, just hanging out in the basement, freezing, and it's been so cold. And I rewatched the Georgia and the Indiana game. I kid you not, Mike. And it's like, and I just studied Knapp. I'm like, what? And it's star searching. Let's be honest. Everyone's like, oh, I want Gerby because he's this rank. Well, if you just look at On3, who had Knapp as a top 100 player, if you go back and rewatch his high school film once again, the dude was unbelievable.
Yeah.
How in the world did the SEC not recruit this guy? Makes no sense. He's 6'4", 34-inch arms, and you just let him go? So it's a massive recruiting win when you look at him, his skill set and what he brings. So he's really, really talented. And then you just go in. Did he get beat sometimes? Hell yeah, he got beat sometimes. And it's like, so do other guys. Wagner got beat bad in a few games. In the Georgia game and the IU game, he doesn't even give an effort, it looks like, on one sack. It's so bad. But no one talks about benching him. So, and their numbers are comparable when you look at it. In the run game, real quick, dude, nobody blocks like Knapp on the run game. He is violent as could be. He's a better run blocker than Billy Schroff. So he is damn good against the run. So people need to look at that. And I know Gerby, he's got the hype and everything. Believe me, I'm a big fan of his. I think, when he committed, I said he's the best true lineman to commit since Quentin Nelson. He was that good, his high school film. So, but you need bodies. And I think they have a nice group of bodies where you need more than 5. I think that's got to be the mindset, is you're going to need more than 5. And they've shown that the last couple of years.
Rick says, why the lack of respect for Schrouth? What are you talking about, Rick?
As lack of respect. There's no lack of respect.
Dude, if he goes in the first 3 rounds, I
don't think. Yeah, he's not a first round guard. I don't think he's a second round guard. He gets bull rushed back quite a bit, but he also had. It's funny when I watch him. There's times I'm watching Knapp and Billy gets bull rushed back, and it's like he had that ankle injury. I think that ankle injury you could just limited him so much last year. So, but big fan of his, man. When those guys combo block, they're really good pass blocking on some twists and stuff like that. I think Billy Schroff and Anthony Knapp do a hell of a job passing guys off. So, they do a lot of stuff. They do a lot of stuff that's good. And the guy we forget about is Ashton Craig, because obviously he got injured so darn long ago. But you saw his talent in those first 3 games and the athleticism that he has compared to Coogan and obviously Zeke Carrell the year before. So getting Ashton Craig back is going to be awesome.
Yeah. You know what else is awesome, Tim? Augie's Locker Room. And you can head to augieslockerroom.com, go to the online store and check out some of the really cool pieces. Like, this is one-of-a-kind stuff that you're only going to be able to find at Augie's Locker Room. Or if you can find a place that has used team-issued Notre Dame clothing, a Tyler Eifert worn Champs Bowl helmet, as well as Chris Zorch replica jersey signed, Kyle Rudolph, Chase Claypool, Rudy, yeah, let me know, as well as current players like Drake Bowen. Yeah, just let me know, because it doesn't exist. Augie's a locker room, one of a kind spot. If you're not able to get to South Bend anytime soon, that's fine. You got augieslockerroom.com. But if you're local, you're driving through South Bend, you're coming in for a game, whatever the case may be, just stop in. Stop in at augieslockerroom.com. Tell him that Mike Singer from Blue and Gold sent you. If Auggie doesn't have something in store, he's gonna be able to go out and find it for you. I know you guys want the Rocket signed helmet. Come on. How sweet is that gonna look in your man cave? Visit Auggie at 1733 North Ironwood Drive and see the vintage helmet display dating back to 1890. Augie's got incredible stuff that you are going to want to check out. augieslockerroom.com, or give him a call during business hours, 574-277-6363. Tim, I really do hate April Fool's Day, man. I was scrolling Facebook a little bit earlier, and favorite pizza place near me was like, we're going Detroit style for our pizza, which Detroit style is probably my favorite. I'm like, damn it, it's April Fool's. It's the worst, Tim. Last night, a new Spider-Man movie gets announced, and I'm like,
what?
I'm like, I don't know.
Spider-Man, is it still the last guy?
Yeah, it's still Tom Holland, but it's like they dropped it on 11 o'clock on March 31st. I'm like, I hate it. I just can't wait till this day is over, Tim.
Did they 11? Well, because they didn't want to do it on April Fool's. So just wait till the 2nd.
Just wait till the 2nd, damn it. Pissing me off. All right, Mr. Hyde, let's see. What else we got? So we talked about the offensive lines, and you want to talk about Juwan Sider.
Yes.
I think we led with him in our Friday recruiting show.
Okay.
The new Notre Dame running backs coach and the job that he's done, Tim, because he's gotten the ball rolling in 26. He's gotten the ball rolling in 27. And he's helping Notre Dame out recruit these other positions for these South Florida kids. And I think that he's kind of given Notre Dame some secrets to Penn State recruiting. Like, they just offered this offensive lineman that Penn State felt that they kind of had a hidden gem, and Notre Dame went and offered him. Andrew McKee, or I can't remember his name. But Notre Dame went and offered him the other day, and the feeling is like, yeah, so Penn State kind of thought they had a hidden gem there. Well, nah, Juwan Sider put in a good word. That was kind of the feeling, at least. So, yeah, I mean, the Messiah Mickens, the Penn State 26 running back commit, and Kamon Spell, the 2027 running back commit for the Nittany Lions. Both of those guys came out over the weekend, said they're locked in and not going to be visiting other schools. I don't know. We'll see. Still a long ways to go. And the Javari Flowers kid that they were trying to make a run at, Tim, the 2025 corner from Miami Northwestern, unpredictably picked Florida over Notre Dame. Shocked that Notre Dame finished second, to be honest with you. But I still think Sider's done a really good job, and it's tough to follow up Lance Taylor and Dylan McCullough, but he's done a good job so far in recruiting, and seems to be a good coach as well on the field, Tim. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, super exciting for what he's doing. It's like, Notre Dame recruiting has been obviously solid. Thank God they got, some of the guys that they've lost, though, is actually, Mike, I went back and looked. I was like, man, they've had a lot of decommits, right, at running back. So you go the Jaden Lamar. I started Cedric Irvin. Obviously, the 2 last year. There's a 5th. I can't think of the 5th. I looked it up today. So I was like, man, thank God McCullough didn't get these ones. He got the others. I know that sounds mean, but it's like.
Sorry, Tim, I'll type in a response. So
Thurman,
Daniel Anderson, Irvin.
Jaden Lamar. Oh, and Dylan Edwards.
Yeah. Some, parting of ways, and some just flipped. Yeah. So.
No, exactly. So it's like some of those evaluations, but I like how he's come in, and he's. Number
got
one.
J Love though.
Oh yeah, no, that was a heck of a get. That was a heck of a get, and no doubt about it. So, but no, it's funny. I was just going back over the recruiting, the recruiting during his time, but I really like how he's come in, and it feels like super aggressive with some guys. Obviously the Osborne guy. It's we've been talking about other running backs on the board a ton, because it's like no one thought Notre Dame even had a chance with him, and now boom, he's in the final 2. The Bonner guy out of Valencia and Cali, is legit. The guy ran a 10.4, straight speed, unbelievable speed. So, if they could go into SoCal and steal him, obviously the Walton guy down in Georgia's a stud. And oh my God, who else am I missing? There's a handful of
DeSeffen Walker. So that's the four.
Walker, Walker in Kansas, correct? So
yeah. So we're watching Brian Bonner film here. So yeah,
good public school, by the way. Valencia, that whole area out there in that Hart County is just awesome high school. The public schools out there are legit, really, really good competitive footballs. In Valencia, they battle with the Oaks Christians and the Notre Dame, Sherman Oaks, Crespies, and all those guys out there all the time in the LA Valley Catholic League. So they do.
What do you know about Crespi, Tim?
Oh, just a little. No, I mean, super exciting with him, and then the Osborne guy is just
all right,
fantastic.
So, folks, please hit the thumbs up if you have not done so yet. Hit the thumbs up on this video. It helps support what we're doing here at Blue and Gold. It just makes YouTube like us a little bit more and be like when YouTube likes us. And of course, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. So, Brian Bonner, who was just on campus, he is definitely a key target for Notre Dame moving forward. Bonner was being recruited by Sider at Penn State. Javian Osborne just dropped a top 2. This is a top 100 overall player. Michigan Notre Dame battle, and if I'm Notre Dame, I'd rather be going up for Michigan for a Texas kid than like Texas, right? Or A&M.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome to get to do that out of Texas. That's like, whoa, what a final 2. And believe me, he could go to Texas in a heartbeat. This dude's legit.
Yeah.
So he's a stud.
And then Jonas Walton, someone who was super tight with Dylan McCullough.
Yeah.
Like, my understanding was like Walton visited Notre Dame in January because of McCullough. McCullough leaves, and I was like, yeah, I don't think Notre Dame's got a shot. They still do. He's going to visit a week from today, I believe.
Nice.
And number 10 running back in the country from Carrollton, Georgia. And
he's got, real quick on Walton, he's got like that. I mean, we've talked about him a ton. There's some big fans on the message board. He doesn't look fast, and then he goes and runs a 10.5, 10.6 all the time in the 100 and track. And he's just got some burst, power, great hands. He is an ultimate all-purpose. He's got some kick returns on this film. It's just like gone, taking him to the house. He's a lot like Price when you watch him. Being a guy who could catch it, kickoff return, run the ball. No, he's just like down there in Georgia. This is some darn good high school football. So he's a lot of fun. The group of running backs, and I know we talked, months ago, how I felt this had to be a monster year because, Love's going to go pro, Price is going to leave. You got to, who's that next big guy that could just come in and possibly get some carries as a freshman, because these running backs are better than some of these guys the last couple of years. When you look at this group, I think in 26, better than a Nolan James. I love Aeneas Williams, but these guys got a little bit more, some shake and wiggle than Aeneas. Keedron Young just keeps getting bigger. Like, are they going to make him a nose guard? He's like just a monster.
I do wonder if Price could come back next year, though. If he has the opportunity to be running back 1.
Yeah, but a 5th year for a running back, that's wild to think about. Just
as opposed to bodies. But as opposed to what? Like, maybe get drafted?
Go to the NFL?
Maybe, but I don't know.
Free agents.
But the opportunity to be running back 1 at Notre Dame and the NIL opportunities that come with that versus, just maybe I'll make a roster. I don't know. Something.
No, I feel you. It's still the NFL, and you only get so many carries. And the way, Notre Dame's going to be using multiple backs, so it's not like he's going to, get 275 carries.
Right. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. No,
obviously a big variable of 2025 to determine that. But and then Tim DeSeffen Walker from Raymore, Peculiar in Missouri, one of the all-time high school names. Number 19 running back in the country, number 238 overall player, and I believe he is visiting soon. I want to say, he's got a spring visit locked in. Let me see the date.
I like him.
April 11th, it looks like. So, and then I still wouldn't rule out Messiah Mickens although he said he was shutting down his recruitment, he also, I mean, it's not the first time he said that. So, you just never know. It was a long time till signing day, and he's very tight with Sider. So we'll see. You never know what can happen. So it's like 5 really good backs, and you know that Notre Dame wants to take a couple of them. So
any Osborne film? Is any junior film on his little account? Yeah, it's funny because I'm like, when you watch these guys, I would put Mickens like 5th. I don't know why. Some of these guys are just like super, super talented.
So if you could have your pick of the two, knowing playing style, like who would you go for? Like a Thunder Lightning kind of deal? Like would you go like Osborne,
speed, and fast guys, and get another fast guy?
So Osborne Bonner.
I'm Osborne Bonner, man, just fast and faster. So yeah, speed, man. Just keep spreading guys out, get guys in space, let them. It's Tecmo Bowl, man, 1989 out there. Look at that. I don't need Thunder and Lightning, man. Just okay. Fast guys go. By the time, if these guys are sophomores, juniors, you got Blake Hebert, running quarterback power. Let him do that. Let him do the Riley Leonard run off tackle. But no, all these guys are darn good running backs. But Osborne and Bonner, I'll take these two in a heartbeat.
Okay. All right. You ready to get surprised by some questions that you have no idea what you're about to be asked?
Sure, go for it.
I'm telling you, Tim, we got some good stuff here.
I've not been on Twitter. Did you do this on Twitter or the board?
Twitter.
Okay, gotcha. No, this will be fun.
Okay, I got one.
My favorite lasagna or something. We got some good ones like that.
No.
All right. Good.
We got 5, and we have plenty of time. We're still early on in the show. So, all right.
For it.
Isaac Myers, friend of the show, says Notre Dame has been a perennial top 10 recruiting program as of late, which, by the way, I mean, Freeman had his last 2 according to the On3 industry ranking were like 11 and 12. Being in the top 10 is very difficult. People want to talk about breaking into the top 5. Like, just being in the top 10 consistently is not easy. But anyways, Notre Dame has been a perennial top 10 recruiting program as of late, which, again, you can argue that point, but
I feel
important. Is production on the field the difference in them becoming a perennial top 5? Does having a 1,000-yard, 10-touchdown receiver this year get you your Meadows, the kid who ended up at Derek Meadows, or Carnell Tate from Ohio State, etc.? I thought this was a good question, Tim. So is it for Notre Dame to kick butt in receiver recruiting? Do you need to do it on the field? I don't know, Tim. It's like a chicken or the egg thing here, because like if you look at DB recruiting, Tim, I mean, Kyle Hamilton still came to Notre Dame, right? I mean, Notre Dame's DB situation wasn't the best thing ever, in the late teens, and then you get the coach, and then it just turns around. You make the right evaluations, you do a great job, and you get Ben Morrison, and the rest is just kind of history. Leonard Moore, right? A fringe 3-4 star guy.
Well, just look at the NFL guys. I mean, Harrison Smith was ranked in the 200s. Julian Love was a 3-star. Troy Pride, a low 4, 3-star.
Yeah.
Alohi Gilman was a transfer from Navy, and he's in the NFL with multiple contracts. So, yeah, I mean, just not your top 100 guys right there, but it's interesting. I mean, I went back, because I do what I do sometimes, and I get bored and I look back at numbers. So I went all the way back to when Weiss took over in 2005. I did. I posted this on the board. You go on Twitter. Someone had posted about almost the same type of question, and it's like, well, Notre Dame doesn't have any guys who's had 800 yards. Dude, Notre Dame has had tons of guys 800 yards, 10 touchdowns, going all the way back from Mo Stovall, the Shark in 05-06, all the way, obviously, Floyd Tate, EQ St. Brown. TJ Jones had over 1,000 yards. He played in the NFL for almost a decade. Obviously, Claypool, Boykin. They just hit a lull. And we talked about this, I think, a month ago. Like, it's going back to Michael Mayer with what he did in 22 with Reese did with Mayer. He had to, because they had no wide receivers. I mean, the wide receivers that year were going to be Wilkins and Davis, and they got hurt. Styles, Colsey, guys like that just didn't develop, and Tobias was figuring out right from left, and that's why he didn't play that much as a freshman. So, dude, it's been a bad couple years, and the 2 best receivers they recruited, Mike, Cam Hart and Xavier Watts are in the NFL as DBs. So that goes from there. But you got to find that guy. Exactly. What he said, you got to find that Kevin Austin, someone that could get you 800 yards, 900 yards. Can that be Fields as a transfer? Pauling, who I love. Can that be even Greathouse if he just breaks out and it's like, you're a junior, we're throwing you the damn ball 55 times this year, which they should, for crying out loud. And he has a 55 for 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns, whatever the question was. Does that get you over the hump to get a Carnell Tate's the one that, we'll talk about that forever. He's the one that could have been wide receiver 1 from day one. Instead, he's been wide receiver 3. So well, it's right there because real quick, because there's a bunch of guys in the Midwest that Ohio State's had. So it's about getting one of those elite Midwestern guys. Do not go to Ohio State and come to the
problem with Tate is like, all right, you're Chicago Marist. It was Marist High School, right? You went
and then with IMG
Coogan, and then you go to IMG.
Yes.
So it's tough. But yeah, Tate went to Notre Dame so much, and ends up at Ohio State.
But Notre Dame, just real quick, it's like, because we've been frustrated the last few years, no doubt about it. But they have an amazing history of wide receivers. They really do. They've had a ton of dudes in the NFL. So there are lots of bodies in the NFL. And if anything, Freeman needs to, and I'm just using him, he's the head football coach, highlight these guys since the quote-unquote modern era when Weiss taught the guys how to throw the football after Bob Davie and those guys and Willingham killed it. And it's been awesome. Since 05 to 21 with Austin, it's been really.
I have to cut you off because if you would have seen the outline for the show, Tim, you would know why I'm cutting you off. We'll come back to it. We'll come back to this discussion right there. Okay, I promise. Go Doc Go says, for recruiting, can you explain the finances of unofficial visits? Who's picking up the tab for flights, hotels at Notre Dame? As they recruit nationally, seems to be an expensive proposition, especially for multiple unofficial visits and on game day weekends. Genuinely interested. Tim, so I can speak to this from my job, Tim, but you can speak to this from like being a high school coach and your recruits visiting. I want to hear what you have to say about this first, because it's not cheap, Tim. And then you hear about or visits getting canceled all the time. It's like I'm thinking to myself, like, dang, a lot of times when I book trips, it's like that's non-refundable. So thoughts, Tim?
A lot's changed. Man, there's God, this is a great question, and I will research this because there is an article out there, and I want to say it's with Ryan Day or Lane Kiffin. It's somebody where they started. I think you and I even talked about this maybe 2 years ago, if I remember right. Like how somebody found a loophole in recruit, because technically you got Osborne or Brian Bonner was just there, right? From California. Technically, he's a student athlete. So there are loopholes in the recruiting game. They are recruiting him as a student. So there are certain ways people are helping financially. I have read that. And there's stuff I need to find the articles because this is a great one where people are getting help, I guess you could say.
Okay.
I highly doubt a guy like, whatever. You keep tabs of these guys. There's no way unless they're just getting mileage points, right? And one mom's like, hell, $5,000, we'll get all the mileage points. We'll pay it off in a year, unless that's happening. But it sure seems like recruits this day and age are having some help getting to campus.
Yeah.
That's a good way to say it.
I'll be honest, I don't really hear a ton about like some of those unofficials and things, but yeah, it's definitely a lot easier in the NIL world for for this to take place.
And there's something, and there's someone that found something. God, I don't know why it's Lane Kiffin on top of my head, where they started doing using the campus recruiting office for students to recruit students. You know what I mean? Like, quote unquote, I don't know, entice people to come visit, but to be able to help out.
But,
with,
let's just take the tinfoil hat off, I suppose. But this is like a once in a lifetime thing. So it's like, it's a big decision. So, you go on travel, but yeah, there's no doubt that at all these places, things happen. There was my first recruiting beat ever. I was covering USF, and there was a kid from Immokalee, Florida. I might have butchered that, but it's like a Fort Myers-ish area. And I know the kid did not come from a family with a ton of money. He flew out to USC for a camp for USC to see if they wanted to offer him. This is maybe I think the kid was in the 2014 class. And I was like, USC for a camp? I know he did not go out there, fly out from, Tampa to Los Angeles, get a hotel. Like, there's just no way. So, there's definitely some of that, but there's also the side of who's picking up the tab for the flights and hotels. Like, the majority, it's the families. This is a big deal. It's a lot of driving, right? Like, I know when Jadon Blair was going up to Notre Dame a ton, he was driving from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, up to South Bend. Like, they made that drive frequently, and sacrifice. I
was about ready to say that. I mean, it's a sacrifice, return on the investment as well that families are seeing. Like, boom, let's go find these few, because once we get in there, right? Once we have that one, this is our school, and it's going to pay off down the road. That's obviously what they're all looking at as well, to pay off down, in years from now. So NIL is nice now, but what are you going to do 10 years from now? So that's always, family, especially the Notre Dame recruits, they're always looking at that. I mean, they're coming to Notre Dame knowing what's Notre Dame going to do for me down the road.
FRLQ Asker says, any concerns with Notre Dame's long season last year, that some of that attrition / sorting off season bleeds into 2025? First time head coach having to make adjustment coming off 16 game season. Okay. I got to shoot down. I don't think he's going into year 4 and just won 2 games that no coach in Notre Dame had been able to do for 32 years or something, like when the major postseason. So he's not a first time head coach anymore, right? This is going on year 4, and he beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl and Penn State in the Orange Bowl. So let's put that aside. And every coach is now, or excuse me, no coach has gone through a 16 game season except for 2 now, right? At the college level, it's 2.
Yeah, Dabo. I think one of the Dabo Saban years,
but they didn't play 16, right? Did they?
No, maybe
12 game regular season, conference championships 13, and then 2 rounds of playoffs. So it's 15.
Yeah,
so no one's done 16. And then as late as the season went, January 20th. So this is new for everybody. But in terms of the question, we're already seeing that with spring ball. It's a very weird calendar, Tim. And my theory is that we're seeing very limited access to spring ball, because it's a cluster, like with guys being modified and guys that are just resting and guys that are just out. Like, it's not a normal spring ball. So, yeah, we're already seeing it, Tim. But do you see any effects into the season potentially from this?
If it does, you and I are doing a show at the Pop-Tarts Bowl we talk about all the time. So, yeah, I mean, seriously, is that, you pay the price, right? So you go 16 games, the next year you're at the Pop-Tarts Bowl if you don't handle business. So, well, hey, we're going to find out. Going back to the rookie head coach, it's still alive in that. Obviously, him and Ryan Day, going to your point, Mike, the first to do 16 games like this, yeah, they have to adjust. And how are they doing? Ohio State's completely different because their team was so loaded with older guys last year. They're having a true, outside of Jeremiah Smith and Styles and a couple other the elite guys that are returning, but 90% of their roster, they're doing practice and scrimmage for those guys because most of their roster didn't play last year. Penn State's resting their guy. I've been following some of the spring balls. I know Penn State's resting a ton of their starters because they have a lot coming back. That's why they'll be preseason top 5 like Notre Dame will. So they're resting guys. Texas is the same thing with certain things. So it depends where you're at, where you're going, type of schedule you have. But I also think it's smart. That's going back to my point to start the show. It's okay sometimes to let the younger guys get some more reps this time of year because you know who you have. When you go 16 games, man, let's don't forget. I mean, just 3 games past the normal 13, right? Where you have your normal bowl prep and go from there. They have 3 extra weeks. So that's still not that it's spring ball or training camp practice, but it's still reps for Kirby Lambert. It was reps for Charles Jagasaw to get back. It's rep for, heck, Jadon Blair was playing wide receiver. Madden Fermo, you had all these other guys getting back in the groove. I almost called Jay Carr because he's in the chat so much, but CJ Carr obviously coming back. So they had a mini spring ball in December and January. So I think that's something. But if this lingers, I don't think it's going to linger. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, man, they're still young kids. It's still competitive. They just got a taste of it. I don't think they're going to be satisfied. I think they're going to come out rip roaring and get ready for another monster season here in 2026, which those first 2 games are everything, as we know.
Yeah.
But great question.
Yeah. You mentioned Jay Carr. I remember when I first saw Jay Carr in the chat, I thought it was, is this Jason Carr, CJ's dad?
Gotcha.
ZB Snickers.
All right.
Not sure what kind of name that is. Do you think 2024 season was magical one-hit wonder season, or will Notre Dame have multiple playoff win seasons, another natty appearance? Kind of big picture, Tim. What do you think? Are we going to see Notre Dame back winning some playoff games?
Yeah, natty appearance, man. It's like, that'd be nice. There've been so few and far between since, Holtz obviously 93 and then 2012, 2024, a long time in between. So, no, I think this goes back to the recruiting, the football players that have been stacking classes each and every year. It's hard, man. It's hard. Every year is a different year. I don't think, me personally, I don't think you'd be, we're gonna be this good years from now. You just never know. You don't. Yeah. I think every year's its own world. Every year's its own. Seriously, you hear coaches say this all the time, but it's so true. Whatever you did last year is meaningless. And Sider, going back to Sider, he talked about this. He's like, yeah, Love had so many yards last year. You don't carry him over. Everyone starts at 0. So it's those experiences you have that lead you there. But no, they're super talented. I mean, the goal, let's be honest, the goal should be the playoffs this year. So I know you can say national championship and all that stuff, but to get into the playoffs, once again, you need to be in the top 12. The same criteria as it is when you had to make a BCS bowl. Notre Dame has only played in back-to-back BCS bowls, 05-06, 20 and 21. That's it. So there haven't been a lot of them.
Yeah.
So I think getting back into that top 12 will be an amazing accomplishment when you look at how it's only been done twice since Lou Holtz.
Yeah.
7 straight years to these games.
Yeah.
So nothing's it.
I feel like sometimes I come across as like judging our Notre Dame fans, and I'm really not trying to do it. Like I just want to give my perspective to you guys, and whatever, if you like it or not, that's fine. I feel like it's my job to tell you that. So I feel like on one hand, like we need to like remember about Notre Dame football, like because sometimes recruiting's not going as well as I want it to be, or whatever we're just upset. Like Notre Dame just reaches a national championship game, beats Georgia and Penn State on the way, and now we're like losing our minds about the transfer portal, like Rocco Spindler and Pat Coogan leaving, and then some decommits or a dry spell of recruiting. It's like, guys, this just happened. Like Notre Dame is like they know what they're doing. There's that side of it. But on the other side of this coin, Tim, I don't want Notre Dame fans to fall into this. We're just perennial national championship contenders. Like we're going to reach the national championship game every year. Like, hey, we have an easier schedule and we might have a better quarterback potentially, as far as throwing the ball on the field. Don't do that. It's hard, Tim. It's not it's not once in a life. I was telling all my family about like me going to the national championship game. I said it's not once in a lifetime, but it's about once in a decade, realistically, Tim. Especially now in the BCS era, 14 playoff. Maybe you could get there more, but Tim, you tell me historically, especially now with the 12-team playoff, once in a decade sounds about like reasonable to assume that for Notre Dame. Maybe twice, but that's hard, Tim.
Oh,
that's hard.
But it better be more than 10, or you're just in the same lull.
10 what? What do you mean?
Oh, I mean, you're saying if you make it once every 10 years, that's good. Notre Dame fans will lose their mind.
I know, but that's like realistically speaking. Again, you guys are going to get mad at me.
No, that is the Bob Davie. I say it all the time. Lou Holtz went to 9 in a row of these games. 9 years in a row. He didn't go his first year.
Oh, wait. So you're talking about just like New Year's 6, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about reaching the national championship game.
Well, I mean, you got to reach the national championship. You got to be a little lucky because obviously you got to be talented and luck. Everything's got to come together. But that goes back to coaching. I think these coaches coach their tails off, man. There are people out there in South Bend land that like complain about these coaches. This coaching staff is unbelievable. Each and every one of these guys coach their tails off. So they're going to coach hard. And I think these players, it goes back to my comment. God, there's a player who used it. My favorite phrase about a Notre Dame is high achievers. I think it was Sullivan Absher who used it, actually. High achievers, man. These are guys that want the best. So Notre Dame's going to be shooting for that. But if they sit back and you're like, oh, if they make this once every 10 years, then we're right just back into the
I'm just saying,
I like to say from 97 to 11.
That aside, Tim, but let's just stick on the point of like looking at history and also considering the 12-team playoff and how difficult it is going to be for Notre Dame, especially right now. You don't get a bye. You have to win 3 games, and that first one could be on the road. That's a lot. Maybe like
the bye's going to go away. Let's be honest. That's only going to be one more year. Then they're going to go to they're 90% locked into 14. So the 1 and the 2 seeds will get a bye. Everyone else is going to be playing. So those are going to be gone. So it's going to.
I'm just saying. I think it's going to be difficult. Like I think.
But scholarships, everyone could have 105 scholarships.
It's going to be difficult to like continue to be. We're in the national championship game every year. That I mean,
okay. I'm going to stop you right here, and I'm just going to pull the Notre Dame fandom in. That's the expectations of Notre Dame fans. That's what you and I said this last year. What Notre Dame did in 2024 used to be what they did for 75 years. That's Notre Dame football. That's exactly what 2024 was Notre Dame football for decades upon decades upon decades. And then it hit the 97 to 2011. 97 to 2011, you had WISO 506. The rest of it's horrible. Okay, it was not Notre Dame football. So that's the standard of Notre Dame football, is to hit that excellence and to keep striving for that and to go for those national championships. So there's no excuses, man. You can find 25 guys each and every year, and I think they are.
Super Mario Henry, appreciate the $2 super chat. I'm just telling you.
But I like it.
My opinion, it's going to be very difficult. I understand that, like, it's not acceptable according to Notre Dame fans. Like, dude,
but it's the same for each and every other program.
You need some good fortune. You need,
of course, but
a lot of good things.
But that's Notre Dame football. Can we get rid of the old? I mean, it's got to change, and it's been up and down. Kelly had some good years, down, up and down. And it's the old standards. I've talked about this. Lou Samogi and Tim Priester, when they used to write together, I got old articles on them where they set the standards of a legit title run, Mike, was once every 5 years. That's the true Notre Dame historical standard of one every 5. There's a second year where you're top 5. You just miss out on the cusp, and you go to a BCS bowl, an old Orange Bowl back in the day, and you may have a little downs do happen in Notre Dame because the academics, the recruiting, it's different than Ohio State and Alabama. It just is. So you may have, but downturns back in those days were 8-3, a 9-3 type year. Nowadays, it can't be like 2022, 8-4, we talked about earlier. So hey man, they got to get back to where Notre Dame is used to being in the conversation and having a legitimate shot at getting into these games. So fun debate, and it's a fun conversation of changing the mindset.
I see all of the post, like if the show's over and people are watching back, I already see all the comments be like, I mean, we'll see. I'm just telling you,
I will say though, Mike, you are correct in the tone, like the Notre Dame fandom tone and comments, Twitter, the message board on Blue and Gold.
It's like we're back, but like how back? Like I don't.
It's like, oh man, we're getting back to that Final Four. It's like you're right though. It's hard, man. You got to have a little luck. Notre Dame did the Georgia game, for whatever you want to say against Georgia, man. They had multiple touchdowns within 30 seconds by nothing but transfers and just 30 seconds of craziness. Notre Dame beat Georgia with the second fewest yards in the history of the playoffs going back to 2014. The second fewest yards. They scored their one offensive touchdown, 13-yard drive. So pure luck. You can say whatever you want against Georgia, man. No quarterback and the turnover right there, that game.
I got a lot of crap for my take about that Georgia game. Do you remember that, Tim?
I don't remember, man, but
I said
that was not this dominant. Notre Dame just manhandled Georgia.
Listen, the Georgia game, it's not. I'm not flukes, but like RJ Oben comes up with the strips, like his first sack of the year in that moment, and then Jaden Harrison kickoff return touchdown. Like those two things had not happened all year, and then they happen. Boom, boom. It's like. It's not a fluke, but we talked very fortunate things. Very fortunate things. I got a lot of crap for that.
No, just real quick. We talked about Oben all year, and he gets the big sack. I mean, how many times there's literally clips of me asking, is Jaden Harrison on this team? Because I've never seen him return a kick to the 20 yet. And he goes, the biggest one ever. But the Georgia game, you got the ref. Remember, the ref runs into the kid on the sidelines, moves that back, holds him to a field goal. They drop a wide open touchdown. That wide receiver drops that.
Micah Bell's brother.
Yes, you gotta have a little luck, and they had it, and they hit it in those couple.
Drew Aller throwing across his body. What the hell? The Christian Gray pick and Nick Singleton dropping the ball.
It's like Penn State could run the ball, control it. No, man, they had some moments that are going to live on forever. And that's going back to the Twitter's question of 2024 was magical because they had magical moments. I just went and I was just rewatching I finished it last night, the Indiana game. Watched the second half last night, and that atmosphere and winning that game was just awesome. And it's freezing. Forgot how cold it was. Riley Leonard's out there throwing passes, and you could tell you don't want to throw a pass because he's freezing.
Not trying to discount, like we're not saying that like it was all luck. No, they had to do a lot of good things, but it's just a part of it.
Same with Ohio State. Hell, I mean, Texas is down there inside the 5-yard line, getting ready to tie it and go to OT. Bam, Sawyer goes 90 2 plays later. So it happened all over the place.
Yeah, Steve Wiltfong put it in an article that we did at Blue and Gold. He put it really well, like. For Notre Dame to continue to reach the pinnacle of, competing for a national championship is like things do have to go, like for Notre Dame at their level of recruiting, like they do need to stay. I wish I had the quote in front of me. Like they have to stay healthy. They have to have some things go their way, and they have to hit on some some 3-star guys, like a Gordy Solstead, 3-star, like a textbook 3-star guy. With the injury senior season, some of those guys have to hit. And I'm sorry, I know Notre Dame fans are great. We just made the national championship game. Here come all of the 5-stars. They're just going to be lining up and beating down the door.
It's still Notre Dame. You still got to go to class. You still got to do certain things. You got to, live in the dorm. You got which I find. I know people always talk about that, but I'm like, how would you not want to hang out with some egghead who's gonna, some finance major who's gonna go make millions and oh, that was my roommate, and he's going to hook me up down the road. Those are massive positives, which I know Freeman, since he's been there, has done a tremendous job selling those with his coaching staff. So I said it earlier, this coaching staff, I think, does a heck of a job. Washington, Rudolph, Mickens, you name them, they did a great job.
Yeah. Tim, great show tonight. If you're angry at me with my takes, just, I don't know. So I'm not going to walk anything back, but it is what it is. Is what it is. Tim, good show.
Notre Dame, high standards, and they have the coach. We've talked about this a million times. They have the coach, and that coach was a guy who played in these games at Ohio State, so that he knows what it's like. And we talked about that the night he got hired. How is that his background, the Dabo background, the young guy, the hard worker that Jack Swarbrick used? So it's taken a while. We went through Marshall and Stanford, you brought up, and the horrible road game at Clemson. So we're getting there. They're getting there.
Tim, I kind of shut you up about when you were talking about the receiver histories of Notre Dame. It was on the show list. We're not going to talk about. We're going to save it for next week.
Okay, save it. I don't want to know.
But no, I want you to know because you're going to prep for it.
Well, I'll go check.
I wanted you to name your Notre Dame wide receiver Mount Rushmore. So we are going to have that for next week because you were going through it, and I was like, Tim, you're talking about all the great Notre Dame wide receivers. I want to get your Mount Rushmore, but we're running short on time. Tim and I have a little bit more work to do. Curtis with the generous $19.99 super chat. He says, just because. Curtis, I appreciate you for tuning in to today's show. We don't get as many super chats in the off season. Just after losses and big wins, that's when they really are flying in. So Curtis, really appreciate.
And 12 more seconds. What the guy says, retaining players, without a doubt. Different guys come to Notre Dame. That's obviously a huge positive and a huge plus. Retaining the players.
I do need Taco Bell, Tim. I do.
Chicken soft tacos. Go get yourself a few.
Yeah, I might get like 12. All right, folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video if you have not done so yet. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content. Head to blueandgold.com for much more coverage on your Fighting Irish. Really appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. If you're just tuning in now, rewind, watch the beginning of the show. Some really good stuff. Again, folks, appreciate you tuning in. And as always, we will catch you next time.